If you've seen the headlines over the past couple days and weeks, you may also be afraid that the US dollar is losing its global reserve currency status. Now, a deal was just struck between China and Brazil where they essentially agree to conduct commerce in their own currencies, settling trade not in dollars anymore. There's talk now that the BRIC countries, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, potentially Saudi Arabia, are joining together to form a new multipolar global alliance and potentially talking about forming a new global currency to conduct trade and commerce. There's a lot of fears circulating right now, but are US dollars worthless? No, not just yet. And let's talk about it in this video. Certainly not going to burn this just yet. But we do have to be prepared. You see, over the last 80 years, the US dollar has been the global reserve currency. It's been somewhat stable, it's been somewhat predictable, and it's widely accepted for not just international trade between two different countries, but it's also accepted as one of the preferred currencies in countries that even have their own currencies. If you've ever traveled throughout Southeast Asia, or throughout Central and South America, many economies, when there is turbulent times, will have their citizens start to conduct commerce in dollars. That certainly was the case when I was last in Cambodia, where you could select when withdrawing cash from an ATM machine whether you got dollars or the local currency. Now, 80 years is a long time, but there's new large global economies that are on the rise. China, being the second largest economy in the world, has been, over the past couple of years, slowly cutting ties with the United States. This is causing fear. This is causing concern. So why is this happening? And to understand this, we do need to understand Ray Dalio's principles for a changing world order, because he actually maps out 3 phases for how a currency becomes a global reserve currency. And he calls it the fall and rise, or the rise and fall of a global reserve currency. First is the rise, then is the top, and then finally is the decline. During the rise, there's prosperity and innovation, but also debt and borrowing. And as the currency becomes stronger, it reaches its peak, and other countries start to copy its innovations. Finally, during the decline, people lose faith in the currency, leading to inflation and loss of value. So the question really is the U.S. past the rise and past the top, and is it on the other side of it? Is it in the third and final phase, which is the decline? Are people losing faith in the U.S. dollar? Well, I think people are losing faith in bureaucracy. I think people are losing faith in leadership in general. You've had a series of world leaders, specifically in the United States, that are quite old and not as relevant when it comes to understanding the issues that many of the younger people in the population feel are relevant or deserve some of the attention that a lot of the population feel that they deserve. Is Joe Biden or Donald Trump the right face of this, the global reserve currency? I'm not going to talk politics here, but I'll leave that for you to decide. What I can say is that faith and trust in this thing that's only really backed by the faith and trust of the U.S. government and its military globally has been on the decline for some time. And if the U.S. and trust in the U.S., as well as the institutions in the military-industrial complex, continue to decline, well, then the dollar will be in trouble. Now, right now, the US dollar is still the dominant reserve currency in the world, but it is losing ground to some of the other currencies. Of course, we just talked about the BRIC countries, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, Saudi Arabia. These countries are coming together to start to discuss those alternatives, and those alternatives are something each of us need to be aware of. So it's important to start to plan for alternatives. If you look at assets that have typically done well during periods of depression, recession, or just economic uncertainty, I'd urge you to consider looking at your own personal portfolio. The people who are hurt the most in a shift between global reserve currencies are those that store the entirety of their wealth in those currencies. It may not be such a good idea to have all of your eggs in one basket. Personally, I believe in having a diversified portfolio of assets that you hold, and I've been of the belief for a long time that cash is largely trash, and the best thing you can do for your dollars is to have it not just in dollars, but have it be in hard assets like real estate, like gold, like Bitcoin, and other cryptocurrencies that I personally hold and believe in. So, I'll end on this quote and on this thought or idea. And I learned it from a very close mentor and friend. But nothing is really ever as bad as it seems, and nothing is really ever as good as it seems. The truth is always somewhere in between. Is the US dollar going to lose its global reserve currency status tomorrow? Unlikely. Could it lose its status faster than any other currency lost its status before? Well, in the age of fast information, in the social media age where all of us are connected through Twitter and TikTok and Instagram, narratives can certainly spread faster than wildfire. And that is certainly what's happening here. So you have the right to feel afraid. You have the right to start to assess all the information around you. But I wouldn't say that we have to panic just yet. I would say that I would start to look for alternatives and things that you can hold. Gold, for one. Gold ETFs, as well as versions of gold that are collateralized as tokens collateralized by gold rather, on the blockchain are interesting in all things I'm looking into and I'm holding right now. So I'd encourage you to take some of your assets or some of your cash, convert it into assets, and you'd be better placed to weather the uncertain times ahead. Thanks so much for watching. If you liked this video, it costs you nothing. It's 100% free. Please consider liking. Also, for more content like this, please consider subscribing. I talk about the economy, trends that are happening, and ways that you can protect yourself, build wealth, and protect your existing wealth. Anyway, thanks so much. I'm Jordan Freed. I will see you in the next video.